I'm Simon Weber, and this is a story about my son's quest to become a professional race car driver. I've watched my son grow from a small boy driving a go-kart to a young man driving a 3,300-pound late model stock car. At an early age, Brandon showed an interest in cars. At age 8, he started competing nationally in go-karts. At 13, the family made the decision to move to Mooresville, North Carolina, Race City, USA, to further his education in racing. At age 17, Brandon started racing late model stock cars, thus beginning the next chapter in his story to become a professional race car driver. This year, at age 18, his goal is to run a full season in the UARA Stars Southeast Late Model Touring Series. You're about to see the behind the scenes action of what it takes for a young man to prepare for the biggest race of his life.
My name is Brandon Weber. My goal in the next 5 years is to be racing in the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Tuesday. We race on Saturday. Supposed to practice on Friday. And right now, we got the crew set. Marco, my crew chief, he's 25. He's going to be amazing this year with the crew chief. He knows more than I could have ever seen, so that's going to be good. I got some helpers at the track. My good friend Dan's going to come down there and spot, hopefully. And I don't know, we should be all right. We got a lot of people coming from Unique Pizza, sponsor, and a few other sponsors coming down. We're going to have the suite and everything like that, so it's going to be probably by far the biggest race I've ever run, by a long shot.
Mooresville is Race City, USA, and another reason why we moved down to this particular area is the weather, the lake, the amenities that we have to use, and another main thing is Brandon can really focus in and use the resources that this area has to offer. And once he uses these resources, other people who are in the industry will get to see what I've seen and what other people around us have seen, that Brandon is the complete package. He has what is necessary to go to the next level. And I've said it many times, I'll say it 1,000 more times. There is only one Brandon. There's 1,000 kids who race cars, but there's only one Brandon Weber. This year, running the late model racing, Brandon, it gets costly very quickly. In prior years, our budgets have been $25,000, $30,000. This year, running the UARA Stars Series, the budget is $150,000. Getting finance and everything, that's been the major thrust that I've been involved with. I know you've been involved with it. And the sponsors are very hard to snag.
I learned earlier this year when we were building the car that it was going to be very expensive. I thought the expense was going to be a lot less than it has been so far. And just getting the car built on a day-to-day basis seems like we're spending anywhere from $300 to $500 a day. Everywhere I go, I expect it not to be as expensive, and it just triple the amount. I think that with that $150,000 budget, we can be as competitive as you can get and really compete at the top level to really win races. Since I've been working so much on the car, with Mark, it's been taking me away more than usual at my house with my sister and my mom, even my dog. It's been a little challenging dealing with that, going home late, and even when I go home, I'm working on the computer trying to get the race car stuff done. So it's been challenging. My mom, I haven't really shown much attention to even my friends. I haven't really hung out with my friends much, and I just hope everyone realizes that this is the one opportunity I have to make this work out, and everyone needs to try to support me to get this done. And I think, after we get this first race in the bag, after we get this first race in the bag, I think that we'll be in good shape after. But right now, we just need everybody's support and not really getting it from a lot of ends. Just, I don't know if my mom realizes, how much we're working. Me and my father are working to get this figured out with the sponsors and the people in the car.
I think that that's his passion, and he should follow his heart. And I definitely know that by this time that's his passion, and that's where he's got to go. I think he has all the makings of a success. I'm very proud of him. I would like him to follow his school also, go to college next year, and I think he plans to do that. But besides that, I think it's great finding something that you love so much that you can spend all the time in your future doing it and enjoying it. Everybody strives for that. Brandon's found it.
Right now, I'm got to figure out my helmet. I talked to a lady down here last week. She's gonna help get me. I don't know, so-called. To me, I've never really had the best safety gear, helmet, suit, and all that stuff. I really am lacking. I need a new one, so I went and talked to her. Her name's Kelly over here at Impact. She's gonna hook me up with a suit, and I got a helmet, and she's gonna hook me up with gloves and all that stuff. So hopefully, she can get it done in the next few days because we need it. And I don't know. We'll see what she says. What's up? Sorry I didn't come by last week.
Oh, that's okay.
Um,
I got crazy anyway.
Can we? Let's do everything. This is the helmet.
Okay.
What is this?
That is the Air Vapor.
Is that a decent helmet? Is that like one of the nicer ones? Or
Yeah,
is this like old? I don't know. Because I got it from Chase and he got it from Steven and Steven got it from.
That's one of our first models out. Like I said, I think you'd like the Air Draft.
I just like it. This looks a little bit different than the newer ones. Like I got paid like $300, $350 for it.
All right.
That's not Bill Simpson, is it? The guy who
That, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the first time he set himself on fire.
That's nice.
Six suit, you wanted the medium large, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Which we can probably have here next 7 to 10 days. There's no embroidery on it.
All right. We'll figure it out.
What do you have going on when you need it by, I should say?
Saturday's the race.
Okay.
Pretty much, I live in Mooresville. This is Race City, USA. Right now we're driving through the main heart of the racing community. Brawn racing, VSR, cheerleading. Don't know why that's there. Anything you need for a race car can be found in Mooresville. Hopefully it works out with the weather. It's gonna be a hit and miss thing my whole life. Weather's been the enemy with racing, so right now it's nice and sunny. We should be racing right now, but weather does not work that way. It works against you. Unless you're asking for rain, I guess. I don't know. Chris?
Yeah.
What's up? I'm Brandon.
Hey Brandon, how you doing?
Long time.
Yeah, good to
Well,
meet you.
not really a long time, but
Yeah.
haven't even met.
What you
Cheers to
got
this. Some pictures on it. My uncle dropped by his business card with his logo on it. It's pretty simple. I think. Can we load him up and look at him real quick and see what we
Yeah.
can do?
So,
I don't know.
look at it on his phone.
That's fine.
Is that a Def logo?
Yeah. Looking at maybe doing them on the rear deck, on the rear bumper.
Okay, the TV panel.
Is that the?
Yeah,
I don't
above
know.
the bumper, across the back, straight across the back.
Well, yeah, just on the bumper on the back. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Our time is pretty tight too. I'm supposed to go out of town tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
You let me know what you can do. I don't want
yeah.
to
Oh, we'll
kill
get
you.
it done. We'll get it done. Dave will be here. He's
When
not here right now.
when do you think you can do it? Cause I don't know. I need to. Maybe I'll give Mike a call. He did a pretty good job putting the other decals on. Maybe have him put them on or something.
Yeah, you have to take off. When are you leaving? You have to load your car by when?
Thursday.
Oh, okay. It'll probably be Thursday when you get the decals.
Okay.
So we'll be cutting it close.
As usual. The other stuff, yeah, everything's gonna change, except the number maybe. The color might change. We might do another car next week. So I don't know. I really don't know.
That's a sport where things can change in a heartbeat.
I guess it's. Oh.
I'll catch up with you later.
Sounds
Let you know
good.
how it's going.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Take it easy.
Just coming from Chris is probably going to cost at least $800 to do simple graphics on the car with vinyl. He makes good money, and we'll probably change those graphics out when they get ripped off or change sponsors. So it gets expensive on every aspect. So main cost of everything is probably coming just building the car, but all the little pieces cost a lot of money too. Tomorrow's Thursday. Hopefully we get a motor tomorrow. We have to be at the track Friday about 8 o'clock in the morning. Saturday's our race. That leaves us maybe 24 hours from now. If we don't have a motor, we're screwed. We're pretty much screwed. We don't have a motor. I don't know what we're going to do. We might have to put our motor from last year in, which has a lot of time on it already. And I'd hate to have motor trouble at the track. That's the last thing we need. We need to just concentrate on getting the car good and getting everybody working good together. But a lot of loose ends up in the air. Decals supposed to come in tomorrow, which I'm not good at putting them on, and neither is Mark. So we got to get somebody here to help get the decals on the car. And tomorrow we're gonna probably have a lot of guys working here, and I don't think anybody's gonna be very happy because we're all gonna be each other's way.
My name is Brandon Presley, but everybody just calls me Elvis, and I just come help up in the mornings to help them all out and do whatever. I met Brandon through Jeff and all them because we went to school together, and I found out they needed help, so I just come help out when I can, and then afternoons I have to go to work like I always do, just my regular job. So
As we look at the car, the rear is the least to worry about, and the front's the most to worry about. In the rear, we just got to put the tail on, which is real quick, some riveting, put some hoses on the car for the gas lines. The suspension in the rear, pretty much done. Look, rear window, Mark's picking up today. As we look towards the middle side of the car, got to put my seat back in, finish up the fire bottle. A few other little tidbits here and there, but nothing really time-consuming. Just little busy work that unfortunately holds you back when you build a race car because there's so many little things. It's hard to remember every little thing. So this is where we got a problem. It's just right in this area. Need a motor, need to get the front suspension finished up a little bit more. Radiator needs to go in. A lot of stuff. We had another motor mocked up in here, so all the lines and everything's all ready to go, but just work right here. Everything else, from the firewall back is just busy work, but from the engine bay forward is just getting some work done because we don't have much time to do it, and it needs to get done because the car ain't gonna run without a motor. You're up. What's going on? You got those plastic hold downs, the white ones for the braking ones?
Yeah. What size?
Small size.
Small size?
If he's got to go around Firestone, sure, hard line.
Okay.
Probably small size.
How many? One.
Just a pack.
One pack.
Carolina Racing Supply, this is Missy.
Okay, that's yours.
That was Josh.
That's yours?
Sure, hold on just a
Okay.
second.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Thanks a lot, Missy.
Yeah,
Bye,
have a
Roger.
good day.
Okay, I was introduced by Brandon Weber by a gentleman named Kenny West, is the major salesman for Stock Car Steel. Basically, I was introduced just to come in, hang a body for him. This label pretty much eventually adapted to, now I'm the crew chief. Like I said earlier, it is pretty tough to get into late model stock racing and be very competitive. So Brandon didn't have a crew chief. He was willing to help me, I was willing to help him, so here we are. Right now at this time we stand pretty much, we have 2/3 of the car done, no engine in the car, but we're probably about a half a day from that, and on top of that we do have a weather issue. They're calling for rain Thursday, Friday, and Saturday now.
I haven't heard, but Friday it's supposed to rain, and I think they have an all-day practice there Friday, so hopefully it doesn't rain that out because we got to get that car out there on the track, make sure everything's good, and make sure everything's safe, so Brandon don't get hurt in there, and make sure everything's all right. You got to make sure you got the car dialed in correct for that track, and that's very important.
I'm currently in the National Guard. We went to Iraq in 2004, and while I was there, he decided that change was in order, so I decided to go to NTI. Now I'm here in Mooresville, trying to find a job in racing, and had friends Jeff and Earl working here. They suggested I come up here and check it out, see what was going on. So I stopped in a couple days ago, started helping out a little bit.
Brandon, he's got 2 Ford motors, late model stock type motors. They're not real complex motors. They're pretty simple to build as far as the parts and stuff involved. It's not like a Cup motor or a Bush motor or nothing, but they're pretty simple. They make a fair amount of horsepower. They make a car fun to drive instead of having too much power and having to worry about spinning tires. And his motors, got one of them going together right now. The other one I haven't even took it apart yet, but just gonna try to have him one done for this weekend. But I think I'm gonna fix the one that I haven't took apart yet, so I can run it one more time. So run a little behind. I'm always behind. So.
Mark and Mike sat down. Mike's my engine builder, Mark's my crew chief, and we decided to put our older motor back in. But Mark decided let's take a look at it a little bit more closely to make sure it was going to last the race. And unfortunately, when Mike took it apart, we noticed that 3 pistons were cracked. So that motor, our backup plan, didn't work at all. Right now it's Thursday, probably about 4 o'clock. Mike should be getting back from work early, and hopefully he has all the parts to finish it. Last night he was here till about 4 in the morning. I stayed here all night working on the car, slept on the couch for a few hours, and hopefully we have a motor tomorrow morning, tonight. Through the whole month of January, in the beginning when Mark was working here, I was making phone calls every day, trying to talk to people I knew and see if they knew anybody who would be interested in being a crew chief this year, because I really realized I could not do it myself and part-time help wasn't going to cut it. So when Mark saw this and he saw that there was an opportunity for him there, because I asked him, he said he wasn't interested, and he just kind of all of a sudden he decided he would want to do it, and I knew right away he was the man for the job because he was the best person I've met yet that could do the job. There was no one else out there, I don't care who he is, that could do the job better than Mark in my mind, and that's all that matters. I'm so thankful that I met him because there was no way I'd be in this position now if it wasn't for him. I know he probably doesn't think that way, but I do.
Personally, I've tried to stay relaxed, but it's I'm the type person that I like to be a week ahead. You know, I'd rather be at the racetrack testing, getting faster, and kind of learning. So
we're at a standstill, waiting for the motor. There's some other loose things we can occupy our time with that makes us feel comfortable, like we're being productive and working, but truthfully, we need a motor. That's all that's holding us back right now, and all I can hope for is that Mike builds it, because that's all I have to work on right now. I run Fords, and not many people run Fords, so if I ran a Chevy, I could probably think about 5 people I could borrow motors from, but for right now, the position I'm in right now, there's no other motor than that new motor Mike's running. If we put the old motor back in, we run a risk of blowing it up and destroying it in 5 laps. It could last the rest of the season, but it could not even last getting out of the shop, so right now I'm just worried about this motor.
honestly, I'm looking to probably see the motor maybe around midday tomorrow. It's gonna be a real bad thrash to get the car done. Let's hope everybody pays attention, not to halfway do stuff. We don't need that. But it's gonna be definitely a thrash.
Friday started out like any other day, but this day we had to get the car done.
I don't think it started like any other day. We got the motor at 7:30 in the morning. We were enthusiastic. We had a goddamn motor for the car. So I don't think it started like any other day, but go ahead.
For the past 2 weeks, Jeff Ligo was working there, a friend of Mark's that it really seemed like he was a good asset in the shop, good fabricator, good everything, and he seemed like he was doing a great job.
I think he was doing a great job. I was very impressed by his work.
Unfortunately, Friday, he didn't show up about 8 o'clock like every other day he usually does. And I really didn't know what was going on. I talked to Mark and Earl, and they were friends of his, and I didn't really get a good story of why he didn't come into work today, because he didn't tell me anything about it, and I was a little bit, surprised that this is what would happen. We really needed him today, if any other day, because the car had to get done today. And the story kind of broke, and he was a little bit mad at the point that I told him to make a tool Thursday, and the tool that he made I wasn't too impressed with, and I think I hurt his feelings a little bit. I didn't really mean to. I was so surprised that was the reason, and the truth is that he didn't have to act that way and not show up on Friday. He was acting like a little bit of a crybaby, and I was really surprised that that's the way he was.
I'm good here.
Need pull towards you.
Pull to me? All right. Just tell me. What the hell do I know?
Can we get by?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to push in maybe a little bit now.
All right, stop it.
Need some more elbow. May have to get underneath of hold down on the trailer.
Oh, get underneath.
Bell House is close to that, right?
Yeah, close to the motor mount here, whatever the hell the thing is.
I gave Michael Morris, our engine builder, a carburetor about 10 days before the race. Friday night, the day before the race, about 10 o'clock, he still didn't have a carburetor. Motor was in the car, and that was the last piece we needed to start it up. I was really worried that Mike wasn't going to come through with this carburetor. A good guy was working on it to get it built for today, and he had a lot of carburetors to do, but I thought ours was a pretty good priority because we were racing the next day.
Maybe you shouldn't have gave him the carburetor the last minute. Is 10 days enough time?
I thought it was going to be enough time for him to get it done, but
We learned a lesson there, right?
he dragged a little bit on it, and fortunately he walked in about 10:30, and I was so relieved because we put the carburetor on the motor and we started up and everything was fine, but it was really a nerve-wracking few hours while we were waiting for Mike to get there.
Without that carburetor, all that work would have been, we would have been dead.
I was so tired, I wasn't getting any work done. I had to sleep a couple hours, but Mark and you stayed up all night and worked on the car. Mark really was a big part to getting the car on the racetrack, pretty much the only part because he did all the work about Friday night into Saturday morning.
I was just a helper there, just going for this tool, getting that tool, just helping him, just an extra two hands. You know that, and I know that.
As I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't believe the amount of work that got done. Had a newfound, reason to get everything done because I saw that we could actually get to the track. We woke up Saturday, as we bridged into Saturday, it got really cold in the shop and it was really cold all day at the racetrack. So we were so tired, we slept through it, and we were just exhausted the whole day. I think at one time me and Mark fell asleep on pit road waiting for the car to go on the track. So all day we were battling, exhaustion and, just everything was catching up with us. All this work we've done for the past week, working all the hours we did, caught up with us real quick on Saturday because we had some time to relax and we all fell asleep. We got to the track, everyone had their cars unloaded and was going through tech, and we just had trouble to get into the pits and get parked because there were race cars everywhere. And we finally got parked and unloaded the car and weren't really rushing. That's the one thing I didn't want to do was rush to get the car on the racetrack because it was a new car and it needed to be tested and needed to take it easy for the first few laps to make sure everything was right. So we took our time, got it through inspection, got it back to the pits, and practice already started by this point. I thought there was going to be 2 hours of practice, but unfortunately, at that point, I didn't realize we're only going to get 1 hour of practice. So I only got on the track for about a half an hour. I took about 8 laps very easily. We brought the car in, noticed that there were a bunch of problems. We got them fixed, went back out there and made 2 fast laps. Unfortunately, we came back in knowing that the motor had a problem. After all this, we got the motor and it had a problem, and we wasn't making as much power as it needed to be. We were really slow. So we worked on it a little bit and tried to make it better, but in the end, the motor was holding us back again.
I wanted Mike Morris, the motor builder, to be there, and lo and behold, I turn around and he shows up, and I said, Mike, what? Give me the story on the motor. So, you just rebuilt it. We just drew it in. Give me the story. He's pulling the spark plugs, looking at spark plugs. He's tasting the water coming out of the tailpipe. I wanted him to wave a magic wand and get you the freaking horsepower you needed to get around the track. But nothing came of that. Did we get more power out of the motor?
Well, as practice ended, me and Mark made a decision to change the rear gear ratio in the car to help the motor, but it wasn't going to make a ton of difference, but it definitely would help a little bit. So we had a good plan to try to check over a bunch of things on the motor and see if we can make anything better, but everything we checked seemed to be right anyway, so we were kind of stumped to know what the problem was in the first place.
How much RPMs did you run down for the race?
In practice, we were turning maybe 6,400 RPMs, and we needed to be turning about 74, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes all the difference on a race motor.
At this race at Hickory, was anything different in qualifying?
Not really. What they do in UAR is you go out for 5 laps on your new tires, and you get them warmed up and scrub them in. Then you come back in the pits. They give you a number. I was 37th in line to go out. And what you do is you go out one at a time from then on. You get 1 warm-up lap and 2 hot laps to see how fast you can run in those 2 laps. Qualifying was my 11th and 12th lap on the track, which is really unbelievable to think about on a new car and new everything, new team. And most of the other guys there that were running probably had over 1,000 laps on their car before they even hit the track that day. And us, we didn't even have any laps. So we qualified a little bit slow, and I really think a big part of that was the motor, but we qualified good for what we did that day.
Belts tight? Yeah. Just making sure, you know, a couple small checks. First race of the year. Thanks, buddy.
Started 28 on the unique pizza and Subs Ford. Out of North Carolina, 100% of Brandon Weber.
All right, Kenny, send them out. Let's wave at the crowd. Let's wave at the crowd. The draw drivers. Wave at them. Thank you very much. All right, spotters. Let's tell them to use their hands now. Green, green, green. Flag. Good start. Good start. How's the car? A little tight to the center. Alright, spotters, tell them to just settle in here now. We got 148 more laps to go. Right. Feels good. Feels good. You gotta drive it. A little tight though. I'm not. You know, I haven't even broken loose once. You know, I'm trying to, but I can't. You know. This thing's fucking slow, man. You're like, tell me, keep talking me through it, alright? Driving like a dump truck, I'm driving so bad right now, I can't even stand it.
Truthfully relieved that we were there that day and the car was on the track, and even though we weren't running as quick as we wanted to be or we could have, we were running. So that's all that mattered, and we were there, and everything kind of fell into place after that. I was really good coming out of the corner, but about as we got down the middle of the straightaway, they would definitely pull on us, and it was really difficult to make passes because they would just pull away. So I really had to set the pass up and try to pass cars really smart. Fortunately, some of the cars wrecked, and we passed cars that way. You know, we went to the pits, and that helped us out. We made a change to the right rear of the car. We changed the ride height. Earl, you know, made the change real quick, and we got back out early. And at that point, I think we were up to about 12th place, but a lot of the fast guys came in and made changes too, and they ultimately passed us back. And we about finished where we ran. Towards the end of the race, my car didn't fall off nearly as much as the other ones because I made sure not to wear out my tires. And towards the end of the race, we started passing cleaner cars.
You're smart. You know, I've always said that you're a smart racer. You know when to put your nose in there to make a pass, and you know when not to. But the one thing I was concerned about is that time the tire flew across the windshield. You know, was that as close as it seemed? Because up in the suite, all the Unique Pizza people up there, and everybody, was about 50, 60 people up there. They went to me, did the tire hit the windshield? That's why I got on the radio. I asked you, did the tire hit the windshield? And you said, no, it just missed you.
I think a car spun out in turn 3 and 4 and hit the wall, and I don't know how, but the tire broke off and was bouncing probably about 50 feet in the air. And right as I was coming through the car, if I kept on the path the tire really could have hit the car, and it would have really damaged the car quite a bit. But I avoided it, and the car was fine. There's a few incidents where I was passing some cars, and I rubbed up against one car in particular, and that's when my tire got shredded on the right front, and my exhaust also got disconnected on that point. And really, at that point, I think it was about 65 laps into the race, we were just trying to hold on because I didn't know about the tire, but the exhaust was a major thing in the back of my mind because of the fumes in the car under caution were getting to me a little bit. And once we got racing again, the car was fine. the exhaust being broken off the car even hurt us on motor even more. Noise and the fumes in the car were definitely affecting the way I was driving. And at that point, I was just trying to finish the race. I really wasn't trying to. I was just trying to drive to finish because they were really affecting me throughout the rest of the race.
Up in the suite, we had no idea that was going on. We heard on the radio, because you gave me a radio to listen to, that Mark wanted you to come in if it got too tough. And when the guys asked me would he come in, I said, I don't think my son's going to quit the race until lap 150. That's when he'll come in.
What's the toughest part about the race? You had some good moves out there.
Having a slow car, I guess. Having a motor down on power. It's frustrating. But it was good. First race we finished. That's all. I wasn't even expecting. 24 hours ago, I didn't even think we could be here. So to come here and finish every lap. I wanted to be on the lead lap, but it's all right. I was really just happy that day to finish the race. I think we went a lap down towards the end of the race. It was kind of, I really wanted to finish on the lead lap, but we finished 18th, which is really good, contending that there were 43 cars there that wanted to make the race, and 28 started. We picked up about 8 spots in the race. If the motor was good, I think we could have been, top 13 car easily. I think the motor was hurting us a lot, and all in all, I'm just really pleased on what we did that day.
I felt really relieved when the race started. As the race started, I knew that everything was in my son's hands, and at that point, I didn't have anything to be concerned with anymore. After the race, I was relieved that the car rolled off the track. We had some close calls. A tire came across the front of the car. If it hit the car, it would have totaled the car. And then we noticed the front tire on the right side was shredded. If that blew out, it would have totaled the car. So luck was on our side. The boys worked hard. The luck was on our side, and we had a good showing. It was a good first race, something where they put the car together from scratch, had 12 laps of practice on it, qualified out there and raced. We raced all 149 laps, finished the race. Couldn't ask for a better day.
How powerful is this? What am I looking at?
This is a small block Ford. It's a fairly small 4-barrel carburetor. It's only like 390, which on like most street cars got like 650, 850s on them. Probably puts out like 450 horsepower, 460.
Another kick a little bit.
And we were down a lot on power. We got that motor on Friday morning, and struggled to put it in, but.
You mentioned Mark. Are you speaking of Mark Flinner at all?
No, Mark going right there.
Because Clay brought down, I think, Mark Flinner.
Mark helped out.
Yeah,
He's
Mark.
a friend of mine who.
Yeah, he helps out. Mark.
Actually, all those guys.
All those guys helped out. Let's see if we get him into one of these cars for you.
All right, this is.
I got a little Morris Minor or one of those things. I bet you, I'll beat you. You got money in your pocket, boy?
Just drive at night. You can't see on the road.
That's right.
You'll be surprised when you're going backwards, spinning out tomorrow.
I got an old Spider Porsche. You think you take me now?
I don't know. What is it?
Spider?
What year?
Porsche 57.
He does have a collector's car.
I would. Is it inline 6 or flat 6? Just like the.
Oh, 6. Yeah. It's, you know your cars. It's going backwards.
My car's flying. I hope so.
No, come on. Hey, come on.
He knows 2 things: how to eat and sleep. Cars fall in between.
Dad, how do you put up with this?
You were like in 4th and 5th. Yeah, that's why I felt like I had no power.
Oh.
All right, take it off.
Yeah, I was trying to. You know what's going on? I was like, here and there.
No, I got it. Just tell me.
I've been hanging.
Ready to go. This is exciting. All right, Frank, I got the good teacher here. Let's go.
Get some gas.
Use the bumper to get him out of the way. The chrome horn. Actually, it is a chrome. My firm belief is you need to be lucky, you need exposure, you need the right people to believe in you. And hopefully he can allow other people to see his ability and his knowledge and his skill set, and they'll take advantage of it for their company, for their organization, and utilize Brandon in a way that'll allow him to follow his destiny. In my opinion, this is his destiny.
Well, it's almost like acting, I guess. You could be, I'm sure there's a lot of great actors who are not Hollywood stars. And one of the important things, though, is you can't be living in Alaska and hope to be discovered. So I would assume that you want to move to Hollywood first and then show them your talent, and hopefully you'll get noticed. So obviously this is one of the steps. Moving to Mooresville is one of the steps. Like I used to say, the girl he hooked up with better like the W1040 and use that behind her ears. Because unless she smells like oil and likes to smell of gasoline, she's not going to be going with my son.
I love everything from the sound, the smells of the gasoline, and the smells of the burnt rubber. It's just a wonderful thing to be around. The vibration from the cars, it's just wonderful.
Well, I pretty much knew it was going to be a situation for us, the car falling apart. He just had to be there. He needed to make a showing, and that was good enough for me.
Last Saturday, Saturday was probably the most important race I've ever drove in my life. Out of all these races I've driven last week, and last Saturday was the most important week and the hardest I've never committed and worked that hard for my racing career in my whole life, and just being there on Saturday and finishing that race was more accomplishment than any other race I've won or anything else I've ever done in life. It meant a lot to me, and meant a lot to me that Mark and my dad really put that much for it, and without them we could have never been there. So
that says a lot, because this boy works his rear end off. Unlike most 18-year-olds who have 14,000 other things they do, he is a focused individual that works toward a goal. And if he's saying this was his hardest week of his life, that means most kids would have crumbled under the pressure. Most kids would have ran home to their mother and hid for the day. But that says a lot that that he stood out. He made it work. Mark helped him out, and I owe Mark a lot. It's something in the back of my mind that if he ever needs anything, he's got it. No questions asked.
Yeah. Did I have dreams? When the baby's born, you think, every mother thinks, oh, he should be a doctor, this, that, or the other thing. But when you see how convinced and happy they are with what they're doing, you have to let it go. And I fought it. I have fought it many times, and since he was 8 years old, and he sat in that go-kart saying, this is crazy. However, you see how dedicated he is into it, how happy he is doing what he's doing. And basically, I think all a parent wants is for their child to be happy, and you have to give in to that. Is it dangerous? Probably. Is it costly? Yes. Is it taking a great deal of sacrifice? Yes. But you want everyone in their life to find something that makes them happy. I like painting. If everyone left me alone, I would paint all the time, and that would make me happy. I know what that is. A lot of people go through their whole life, and they don't know what's going to make them happy. They do the right thing. They get married. They have children. They have careers. They're miserable. But for Brandon, already, from the time he was little, he's already found that. He's found the secret to what makes him happy. He doesn't have to search anymore. He knows what's going to get him through life.
Appreciate everything, Jim.
Thank you. It was great. Enjoyed
You
it.
are going to be the next Chef Gordon?
No.
Whatever.
You'll be the next Chef Gordon. I will just come out and race every once in a while.
Thanks
my
for
man.
everything.
Great. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Great time. Thumbs up. Thumbs up.